Getting involved in the world of drug trafficking is a one-way street. Adriana Miranda was executed by criminals connected to the illegal drug trade. Moreover, the crime was recorded on video, and to this day, no one knows the reason for the atrocity. But she was not the only victim of violent traffickers. Rayssa Christine Machado de Carvalho Sarp also had her execution filmed because she had a relationship with a military police officer. The young woman, Rayssa Christine Machado de Carvalho Sarp, 18 years old, was the victim of a brutal crime that took place in the Faz Quem Quer favela in Rocha Miranda, in the northern zone of Rio de Janeiro. The crime happened after she was captured at a funk party in the community in September 2014. The violence was filmed by the criminals themselves, and the video quickly spread on social media, shocking the public. The motive for the crime may be related to Rayssa's involvement with a military police officer, which may have provoked the anger of the local drug traffickers. In addition, Rayssa attended funk parties in areas controlled by rival drug factions, which may also have contributed to the violent incident. The police are investigating whether the young woman was punished for these involvements, especially for her relationship with the military police officer, which may have been seen as a threat by the community's drug traffickers. After being found by an uncle, Rayssa was taken to Carlos Chagas Hospital, where she underwent medical examinations. She was initially discharged, but her condition worsened over the following days. A few days later, she died due to complications caused by the violence she suffered. The police have identified 4 drug traffickers involved in the crime and in Rayssa's death. Among them, one was identified as the drug trafficking manager in the favela. The investigation is still ongoing, with the expectation that the accused will be arrested soon. In addition, the police are also investigating possible negligence by the hospital, which allegedly discharged the young woman without recognizing the severity of her injuries. In the world of organized crime, figures like Karina Reggiani and Assis Mauricio stand out in a tragic way. Known as the Blonde of drug trafficking, she was involved with the trafficking of illicit substances and with criminal factions, which made her name remembered in this context. Her story, however, came to a premature and violent end. At the end of 2023, Karina posted a video on social media in which she revealed a major change in her life. She announced that she had left the First Command of the capital, PCC, and that she would be making a transition to the Red Command, a rival faction. This decision generated a huge stir, especially in the criminal world, and it seems to have been the motivation for her loss of life. On February 10, 2024, Karina was executed in Araquemes, Rondônia. She was hit at least 13 times while walking down Bolivia Street. The attack was carried out by 2 men on a motorcycle who fled immediately afterward. The civil police located and arrested one of those involved, identified as Chucky. He confessed that he had been sent by the Red Command to eliminate Karina. During the arrest, he was found with illegal trafficking materials and a firearm. A central figure in the Brasilândia community, located in the northern zone of São Paulo, Nenê de Brasilândia, or simply Nenê, began her path in the world of crime at a young age. She stood out as one of the biggest traffickers of illegal substances in the region, operating mainly in drug trafficking. However, Nenê was not limited to just that. Over the years, she also became involved in other illicit activities, such as extortion, and became a person of great influence, both inside and outside the world of crime. She was arrested in 1985 for trafficking illegal substances and spent some time in jail. After being released, she partially distanced herself from crime, investing in legal businesses, buying bakeries, and trying to give her life a new direction. However, she never completely left the world of crime, maintaining connections with drug dealers and other criminals. What is interesting about her story is that, despite being involved in drug trafficking, Nenê also cared about her family. Even while in prison, she never stopped showing love for her children and tried to ensure they had a better life, even considering the possibility of sending her daughters to a boarding school. But their situation became even more complicated when they were sent to FEBIM, which made Nenê reconsider her life of crime. In the 1980s, Nenê took a dangerous step by trying to enter the political scene, getting close to candidates and influencing the voting in Brasilândia. This move was a crucial turning point that made her path even more risky. Nene's attempt to get involved in politics put her in a dangerous situation as she moved between the worlds of crime and politics. By supporting and influencing candidates, she generated suspicion and made enemies, especially among more professional criminals, and increased the risks by forcing voters to vote for her chosen candidates. In 1989, Nene died at the door of her house in a crime that remains shrouded in mystery. Some accounts claim that she was eliminated by a police officer from a battalion known for acting as vigilantes, while others suggest that she lost ground in the illicit goods trade to other criminals. There was also talk of possible revenge linked to the illegal lottery, in which Nene is said to have lost an important friend. In Rayssa, a community in the west zone of Rio de Janeiro, a shocking crime took place in January 2018. The victim, Ana Luisa Carvalho da Silva, 19 years old, ex-wife of drug trafficker Adriano Cardoso da Silva, known as Modelo, was found dead inside her home, located on Travessa das Flores, in the neighborhood known as Via Apia. She was also the daughter-in-law of Antonio Francisco Bonfim Lopez, known as Nem, one of the biggest names in drug trafficking in the favela. The military police were called after an anonymous tip, and upon arriving at the scene, confirmed the death. The civil police forensics team was called in to investigate the circumstances, but so far the cause of death has not been officially disclosed. Some residents speculated that Ana Luisa may have been executed, but this information has not yet been confirmed by the police. Ana Luisa's connection with influential figures in Raysa's drug trade, such as the model and her father-in-law Nem, placed her in a dangerous environment. Even after her relationship with the model ended, she continued to live in the favela, which may have contributed to the risks she faced. The Homicide Division of the capital is still investigating the case and trying to clarify what really happened that night. Considered one of the most wanted figures in Brazil, Sonia Aparecida Rossi, known by her criminal alias Maria do Pó, became one of the most notorious and sought-after figures in Brazil's drug trafficking world. A native of Americana in the interior of São Paulo, Sonia was a woman deeply involved in crime since the 1980s, particularly noted for her connections in the trafficking of an illegal powdered substance, especially in its distribution to the favelas of São Paulo. She became known for her ability to move between the main criminal organizations in the state, even having ties with the first command of the capital, the PCC. In 2006, Sonia was arrested and sentenced to 54 years and 8 months in prison for the illegal trade of illicit substances, but she managed to escape from the Santana Women's Penitentiary in São Paulo, where she was being held. The escape was planned with the help of a bribed prison guard, which made her even more notorious. After that, Maria do Pó disappeared and was added to the list of the most wanted people by the São Paulo Civil Police. The woman, who was heavily involved in international drug trafficking, was the main supplier of a powdered compound to the city's favelas, bringing the illegal product from Bolivia. Her ability to evade the authorities meant she was constantly being hunted, but without success. In 2017, after the arrest of other women involved in drug trafficking crimes, Maria do Pó remained the only woman on the wanted list, with a reward offered for any information leading to her capture. However, the fate of Maria do Pó is still uncertain. After so many years of searching, the police do not rule out the possibility that she is no longer alive, given the risky lifestyle she led. Born in Niterói, Rayane Nazareth Cardoso de Silveira, better known as Hello Kitty, was a young woman who got involved in crime from an early age, becoming a well-known figure in drug trafficking in Rio de Janeiro. She grew up on the Ilha da Conceição Hill. Although she tried to leave the world of crime by converting to the evangelical faith and even sang in churches as a gospel singer, Rayane ended up getting involved with crime again. She began her path in drug trafficking working as security for the Amigos dos Amigos faction. Later, she joined the Comando Vermelho, where she became one of the main people involved in trafficking operations. Rayane became the right-hand woman of one of the leaders of Comando Vermelho, Alessandro Luis Vieira Moura, known as 20 Anos, and went on to command drug trafficking in the Complexo do Salgueiro region, becoming an influential and feared figure. During her criminal life, she accumulated charges of trafficking illicit substances, armed robberies, and other crimes, and was wanted by the authorities under several arrest warrants. On July 16, 2021, Hello Kitty's story came to a tragic end. She was executed during a police operation in the Complexo do Salgueiro, along with other criminals from her faction. The military police operation involved the use of armored vehicles and support from the BOP, and the confrontation resulted in the elimination of Rayssa and other members of the drug trade. Although the police claimed that the operation was carried out following a kidnapping report, investigations indicated that Hello Kitty's death may have been planned from the start, with allegations that the operation was staged solely to eliminate the drug trafficker. In the early hours of September 24, 2023, a double attack resulted in the killing of Francisco Livardo Rodrigues da Silva, 38 years old, and left his partner, Suzanne Oliveira Costa, seriously injured. The crime took place at around 1:30 in the morning on Pires Medici Street in downtown Coelho Neto, Maranhão. According to the military police, the team was called after an anonymous tip about 2 deceased people found in a public area. At the scene, the execution of Francisco was confirmed. He had been shot 3 times. Suzanne was shot 8 times and was then assisted by the SAMU team, being taken in serious condition to the Gentil Filho Regional Hospital in Caxias. The couple, who were already known in the city, were under investigation for involvement with illegal drug trafficking. In August 2003, Francisco and Suzanne were caught in the act and arrested by the civil police of Coelho Neto during an anti-drug trafficking operation. At the time, search and seizure warrants were executed at their residence in the Sarni neighborhood. There is still no information about those responsible for the attack. The civil police are continuing to investigate the case in order to identify the motive for the crime and the suspects. In São Gonçalo, in the metropolitan region of Rio de Janeiro, Kate Azeredo da Silva, 21 years old, died on February 5, 2014, after falling victim to violence by criminals. The attack took place between February 3rd and 4th and was filmed, with the video quickly spreading across social media. In the footage, Kate is seen being mistreated by men from the Morro da Dita favela who were in conflict with rival factions. According to the police, the order to attack Kate came from inside Bangu prison through Alex Pereira, known as Drill. Katie, who lived in the Morro da Dita community, was taken to the Linha favela, where the incident occurred. During the episode, her head was shaved, and the footage captured only part of what happened. The victim was rescued but did not survive, passing away at the hospital. The criminals Gabriel Souza dos Santos, known as Maradona, and Marcos Vinicius de Campos, known as Sombra, were arrested, as well as a teenager who was also involved. The motivation for the attack was related to Katie's involvement with a man from a rival faction, which triggered the violent reaction. On September 5, 2018, Valdinea Lopes da Silva, known as Pandora, was executed in Nova Olinda, a city located in the interior of Tocantins. She was identified as one of the main drug traffickers in the northern region of the state. The killing took place around 9 p.m. When she was at home with 2 other people, 4 men arrived by car and 2 of them got out to break into the house. Armed, the criminals ordered everyone to lie on the floor and then killed the victim. The motive for the crime appears to be linked to a dispute between criminal factions in the region. According to the military police, Valdinea was known in the criminal underworld and had already been arrested several times, mainly for involvement in drug trafficking in Araguaina. The police believe that she was leading the trafficking of illegal substances in the city of Nova Olinda, being responsible for distributing them to several cities in the central north region of Tocantins. Furthermore, Valdinea's name appeared in investigations carried out by the civil police in December 2014 during Operation Pandora. She was arrested along with Vom Pereira da Silva, her partner, for the illegal trade of illicit goods. The investigation indicated that the couple was responsible for the sale of various illegal compounds in several cities in the region. The crime involving Adriana Miranda, a 21-year-old woman, took place in March 2021 in Igarapé Miri in Pará. The young woman was executed and the crime was filmed, quickly going viral on social media. Up until that moment, no one knew for sure what had motivated the violent act. The case was investigated by the civil police, who opened an inquiry to try to find out what had happened. The situation became even more tense when, 6 days later, the military police arrested 2 men suspected of being involved in Adriana's execution. The police found the suspects after receiving an anonymous tip. When the police officers arrived at the location, the suspects opened fire on the agents, which resulted in 2 of them losing their lives during the armed confrontation. 2 others, who were already in custody, were also identified as being involved in the crime. It is still not exactly known why Adriana died, but the police are continuing their investigation. She was the victim of an execution, but the motives remain a mystery. On May 12, 2022, 2 women were killed in Belo Horizonte in an incident that, according to the police, may have been a mistake. The victims were in a borrowed car and were shot while they were in the Goiânia neighborhood in the northeastern region of the city. Veronica Sabrina de Ambrosio, 20 years old, was driving the vehicle and was accompanied by her husband and 7-year-old son, as well as her co-worker, the cook at her bar. After dropping her co-worker off at home, the car was surrounded by armed criminals who started the attack. Veronica, who was in the front seat, and the cook, who was outside the vehicle, were hit and did not survive. The car lost control and crashed into a pole, but Veronica's husband and son, who were in the vehicle, were not injured. The main line of investigation by the military police is that the 2 women were victims of a mistaken execution. The car they were in belonged to a local drug dealer, a regular customer at Veronica's bar. According to the police, the businesswoman had borrowed the vehicle because her own car was in the shop, and she needed transportation to buy items for the bar. The police also reported that Veronica's husband was aware of the man's involvement in illegal activities and had advised his wife to keep her distance from him, but apparently this advice was not followed. The investigation is still ongoing, but so far no one has been arrested. There is no evidence that Veronica was involved in any criminal activities. The suspicion is that she and her co-worker were mistaken for other targets, making this case a tragic case of mistaken identity. Inside her own apartment at the Amazon Villas condominium, located in the Tarumã neighborhood in the west zone of Manaus, Diane Sixas Santos, 30 years old, was executed. She was known by the nickname Pequena, Little One, and was identified as the wife of a drug dealer named TH, allegedly one of the leaders of the Comando Vermelho, CV, faction. In addition, she had previous police records for involvement with drug trafficking. The crime took place around 11 p.m. when an armed man jumped over the condominium wall and broke into the apartment where Diane was. Witnesses reported that she was in the living room with her 2 young children at the time of the invasion. The suspect shot her once in the chest and fled with the help of an accomplice who was waiting outside the condominium. In addition to leaving behind her children, Diane was also pregnant with her 3rd child. Employees at the location confirmed the information but did not want to be identified for fear of retaliation. The police believe that the crime may be related to a settling of scores within the world of illegal drug trafficking. So far, there is no information about any arrests or identified suspects. The case remains under investigation to understand the motivation and those involved in the crime. Don't forget to subscribe to watch more videos like this one.